Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Bison, aka at Bison Trades over on Twitter. I run the business development here for the Longwood Labs team, as well as a former tokenomics expert, but got fired from my position. The goal of this video is to show you exactly how to get started in Remnants and make sure that you are looting efficiently when it comes to Longwood Valley. Let's go ahead and get into the game. All right, so first thing you're going to do is go to camp.theremnantsnft.com. This will bring you to our game page, and from here you will actually connect your wallet over here in this top right side. Make sure you're using a Phantom or a Soulflare wallet, whatever you need in order to access the Solana ecosystem. Once you connect your wallet, you'll be greeted by this lovely screen, which is our map for Remnants. This is Longwood Valley. This is our post-apocalyptic setting for our 8,000 survivors here on the Solana blockchain. Now, to get started, you're gonna have to buy a Remnant, and we made it super easy for you. You only have to go into Magic Eden. We actually have Magic Eden integrated into our game. So if you go to Town Hall, it will actually pull up the Magic Eden page that has all the Remnants listed for sale. This is super important too. When it comes to finding a Remnant, there's two things I look for. One, do they have a backpack? There's a reason for that. It means they have 2 additional inventory slots. It's not a huge decision-making factor for me, but it is really nice to have those extra inventory slots. The second, and most important by far, is how many items do they have and what quality of items are they? So you can see right down here, we do have 2 Remnants with items on hand compared to this backpack Rem who has nothing. They stripped him dry. They did my man dirty. So if I'm choosing and I'm looking at the floor, I would say my choice is between one of these two. And as you can see, when you're scrolling over it, there's a couple of things to note. So one is the quality of item. If you go into the blacksmith page, which we'll be heading into shortly, you can actually scroll through every single one of the items to see what they do. There's about 6 different item bonuses. They basically drive our game and make sure that you are looting efficiently here in Longwood Valley. They are loot chance increase, income increase, trip time decrease, resource trip time decrease, resource drop rate increase, and infection chance increase. They all serve different roles and meanings, which we will get into further down in this guide. But for right now, I'm just trying to find somebody that has a good amount of items. There's 2 different types of items. So there's equipment and then there's access items. So stuff that you equip in your utility slot that one either allows you to have added benefits such as a metal detector, which allows you to have more scrap metal, which is very important. It's used in a lot of upgrades here in Longwood Valley, or an access item. So something like bolt cutters, an ID card, or a hazmat helmet, which allow you to access some of these gated loot trips. So if I had to decide between these two, I see a lot of items on this Remnant over here. I'm probably gonna go ahead and take her if I'm looking on the floor. However, this one does have a backpack, which is really rare, having professional binoculars. So those are actually tier 3, and we'll get into that in a second, and a couple of axes. So this isn't a bad buy either. It really just depends on what you're going for. From this page, you can actually also sell and go to my listings. It's really great. This is the first game to ever include Magic Eden's API and to have an in-game marketplace for the NFT itself. Now, in order to make an even more informed decision when buying your Remnant, we can go ahead and head to the blacksmith, and you can see over here, we have a couple of different tabs in the blacksmith. So one, you can buy keys. Keys are access keys. We actually need 1 per loot trip on each of these places we go. You get 2 keys per day per Remnant you have, so make sure you use them wisely, and if you ever want more, the blacksmith is the person to go to. They cost 22 camp, so also keep that in mind. Sometimes it's not worth going on those extra trips because you'll be decreasing your amount of camp you have. If you are going to be buying keys, I recommend only doing so if you're really trying to chase some items that you need to further progress in the game. Next, we have our craft table, and this is where you can check out every single item we have in the game, what their tier upgrade looks like as far as the benefits it produces. And we have all the way up to tier 9 items. So this is where you go to craft them. And as you can see underneath it, you see exactly what you need. Right here, we need to go ahead and drag and drop a tier 1 trolley to go in here in order to get to tier 2, along with all of these items below. So we have camp, we have a part, which you get from breaking down a tier 1 trolley. And this goes for all of your items. So if you need a flashlight, you break down a tier 1 flashlight to get the part. Camo netting, wood, scrap metal, and tarp. If I didn't have enough, you would actually see that it's red. So I have like no small LEDs right now. I need to go ahead and start farming for old flashlights, those tier 1 flashlights, in order to break them down here. Here's where I would break them down. It costs 50 camp in order to break it down and get that part. So sometimes it's actually more efficient to go into our market and buy those parts separately. Down at the bottom left, we actually have our Remnants Hub. So this is where I would go. If I bought a remnant, this is where I go to send them. So we have our claim section, our looting section, and our camp. Let's go ahead and claim some of these so we can go ahead and send them back. So this one just got a rare crate. We can go ahead and open that up in a second, but we have 14 camp. Usually come with the item. Sometimes they come back with the item if it is a loot trip, and then zombie kills. We have a leaderboard for zombie kills, and every time you go on these trips, you get randomized a certain amount of zombies you killed during that trip. And we have a leaderboard that gives away fun prizes every single week. So if I did want to resend them, I can from here, but I'm actually going to just click away, and then I'm going to show you exactly what you see when you buy your first remnant. So here, I go ahead and click on the remnant. I can go ahead and manipulate what it has in its inventory, make sure that it's all loaded out correctly. And this guy, I actually want to make sure that he's finding a bunch of loot. I break down my looters into 4 different categories. So the looter itself, I'm focused on getting loot. So I want those loot chance increase items. We also have those money maxis. So those ones that need income. They have survival guides equipped, they have money pouches equipped, they have rabbit's feet equipped. Those are the items that I want on my income remnants. We have resource gatherers, so the ones that strictly go to these resource runs. In order to get those resources, we need to increase in order to level up our equipment. And then we have the infection runners. So I do have one rare remnant that has a lightsaber. I love him to death. I want him to get infected. Infection means that your remnant becomes a zombie, which means they can access all of these places without any access item needed, and it doesn't take away any keys. So there is a huge benefit to this, and we'll be adding cool features down the line when we roll out some more content and some more changes to the game on how zombies are going to function. There will only ever be 300 zombies, so make sure that you are trying to get one ASAP. We are about halfway there, so there is still opportunity as of the time of recording. Let's say, for instance, though, I want to go ahead and send this guy to military base. So this is where I would equip my access item. You need bolt cutters to go into military base, a hazmat helmet to get into radiation zone, and an ID card to get into government. There's a progression here. You actually get bolt cutters from prison. From military base, you can get both the ID card and the hazmat helmet. And then if you are going to radiation zone, there's a chance that the ID card drops as well. As you progress through this kind of chain that we have, more rare items are awaiting. So now that I have this access item set, this guy can actually go to military base, and you can see what item you need to access some of these zones when you click loot. So loot will bring up our different variety of zones we want to hit. I want this guy to hit military base and not military base resources. That is strictly for my resource runners. Don't want this guy going out there because he doesn't have any resource related items. So I'm going to click military base. I'm going to click loot, and that's it. That's all you need right there. You can see down here, we have our remnants that are currently looting, and you can see some are coming back really soon. So in 20 minutes, I'm gonna be logging back in, making sure, capturing all my loot, and sending them back out for their next loot trip. Additionally, we can go over here and claim the rest of our loot. So I'm gonna go ahead and resend all of these people. I want them going exactly the same route because I have them allocated how I want them to. It makes this a very idle game. That's why we love Remnants so much, is because personally speaking, I love video games, but I don't have time to sit down and play 4 hours of a shooter every single day. I do have enough time to make this a routine. I log in about 3 times a day to go into Remnants. It may even be less in the future, just a little alpha for you. And after I'm done claiming all of my loot, we can go ahead and click back out of this. But down here, we also have our market tab. So market is where we can actually buy and sell items that we actually loot in the game. And this is fun. This is where you can actually generate camp. So if you do find a remnant on the market and you don't like some of their items, you can choose to break down the item and get the part. You can actually sell the item here on the open market, where some other players may value it. They may decide they want to go ahead and buy it. So if I do want to sell, I make sure I hit this little thumbtack over here. This actually helps make sure that it doesn't toggle away from it. But I'm going to go ahead and click and drag this into the sell. So if I want to sell, I'm going to go ahead and list it. Let's say I just want to list it at floor. I'm going to go ahead and list it for 175, and hopefully it sells. You can also manage your listings over in the listings tab. So if I did want to delist, like I actually really want that Dusty Survival Guide, I'm going to go ahead and confirm over here, and then I can go ahead and check out what I want to buy. So we do have items, we have resources, and we have parts, just like we discussed before. With arguably the most important part of this game, To the side, now that we know how to loot, let's make sure that we know exactly how we can check most of our metrics and settings. So over here on the top right of the screen, we see the number of keys I have. As I mentioned before, you need 1 loot key per trip, so make sure you're managing those accordingly. You do get 2 loot keys per remnant per day, so keep that in mind. Make sure you are efficiently managing your keys. You have your camp token. Over here, your current balance that's in your account, you can go to the bank and transfer camp into your actual Phantom wallet or Soulflare wallet to sell it, which we can go ahead and show you in a bit. You can also deposit any camp that you have bought on the open market, and we use 2 different marketplaces. We use Famous Fox and Solo Fox at the time of this recording. The bank is also where you would go for your repossessed items, so if you do ever not manage your inventory, you can actually go ahead and reclaim your items over here. And keep in mind, they will incur a nominal fee, so you'll want to make sure that you're managing your inventory properly. Additionally, you do have storage here as well, and it only costs 10 camp per storage slot. So if I wanted to increase this, I would go ahead and click the plus button, click yes, and boom, we have another inventory slot. This is really good to manage your inventory. Now, going back to the top right, we do have our settings tab. So if I need to change anything, obviously this is where I would go. And if you ever get confused, make sure you are going to show tutorial. This is where we can go back to a lot of our basics. One of my favorite buttons is actually the manage remnants tab. So this is where I can manage all of the inventory of all of my remnants. So if you have multiple, this is one of your favorite tabs ever. It just makes it really easy to go ahead and manage your inventory. So this person over here doesn't have many items, and this one is stacked to the brim. So I'm gonna go ahead and start selecting some of these items to move over so I don't get any of those items repossessed. Next up, we have our loot boxes tab. This is something that was just recently introduced into the game. You have common, rare, and epic loot boxes that do drop from your trips. Now keep in mind, you do not loot keys for these boxes, and you have to buy the corresponding key that goes with them. As you can see, I have a loot box, so therefore I am going to buy 1 key to make sure I can go ahead and open it. Now this costs 600 camp. Let's go ahead and see what I get. And nothing. This is the peril that comes with loot boxes. Just with any other game, there is risk that you get nothing or nothing valuable to you. But there is some fun there. We do have a Remnant NFT that you can redeem, a camp NFT that you can redeem. You could possibly get infected. You could get this sweet Fell battle axe, and the old coin hasn't had its use revealed yet, so be on the lookout for that. Nonetheless, it's just a very fun dynamic that we added to the game most recently. Next, we have our leaderboard. So again, going back to the zombie kills, this is where we can see all of the zombie kills that each remnant has acquired, and we actually have fun prizes. So this week is going to be 10,000 camp, 5,000 camp, and 3,000 camp for first, second, and third place respectively. Finally, we have one of our most important things is our resource pouch. So this is where we would go for all of our resources and parts that we need in order to upgrade our items. All of the resources and parts are tokenized now, which means they don't take up any space in your inventory. It makes things so much easier to manage. It makes breaking down items so much easier. And it's just one of those simple things that we've done in our most recent update patches. Finally, we do have the Famous Fox token market, so I will leave a link down in the description below where we can actually go ahead and find camp. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and type CMP into the search bar, and we can actually trade it right here. Make sure you're connecting your wallet, make sure it is verified, so we have this nice little check mark, and make sure you're buying the quantity you want. So let's say I wanted to buy 1,000. I'm going to buy it the cheapest right here, so I'm just going to go ahead and click that. Click 1,000 and I would execute the sale. Additionally, you can also list the token. So if you wanted to list any of the camp that you made in game, like I said, make sure that you're using the bank to withdraw and deposit from your in-game wallet to your actual Phantom wallet. Since we are actually an off-chain game, we can actually make sure that whenever Solana is down, we are still looting here in Longwood Valley. Very similar process when it comes to Solo Fox. You go ahead and search in this top right corner, and I will go ahead and leave this link down below as well. But luckily, we are in the top right corner over here, so we can go ahead and click view listings. It's a little more expensive on Solo Fox, so I'm probably going to buy from Famous Fox instead, just because it's a little cheaper for me. You can use some arbitrage opportunities as well here. So if it is ever cheaper on Solo Fox and you wanted to sell on Famous Fox, maybe that's something that you're interested in. Last but not least, I want to give this quick tidbit. We do have remnant camps. So this may be something of interest to you. Eventually it will be in the town hall, but you need to go to Magic Eden to get them. They haven't officially announced their purpose yet, but I promise you it's going to be really good when we do. And that's it. We covered everything in this overview guide, and maybe down the line we'll go into some of these steps in detail so you can get the ball rolling on a more advanced level. That about does it for me on this video. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next Remnants video.